Hey everybody, my name is Barak Fredrickson. I am the Student Ministry Director at the Westminster campus. So glad that you can continue joining us for Going Deeper today. Today's Going Deeper is on Kevin's message in Galatians 6, 1 through 5. So let me read it for us again. Dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person get back on the right path. And be careful not to fall into temptation yourself. Share each other's burdens, and in this way, obey the law of Christ. If you think you are too important to help someone, you are only fooling yourself. You are not that important. Pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone else. For we are each responsible for our own conduct. I thoroughly enjoy this passage. All of Galatians is really amazing. But I love this picture that Kevin had. Hey, Kevin. I love this picture that you had of having this massive box you had to carry that was a burden. I was like, oh, that's a great visual of what it looks like to carry a burden and how it is really, really challenging to do. It's not something we can do on our own, which is like, whoa. We're asked to do something that we super can't do by ourselves.
Yeah, I was gonna bring an armoire, but it was just a little easier to get the box.
Yeah, so, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's awesome. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah.
Good.
So, what questions do you have? Did we have anything that came in through online or anything?
We didn't. We would love for you to submit questions online through the website, and that'd be awesome. Text the number somewhere. Hopefully, it's in some sort of something below or above us.
It's magically hovering.
Yeah,
right
it'll hover somewhere. Brady will make it happen. But Kevin, I know every message. I always ask, like every message, you have to cut stuff out. What was something really interesting that you had to cut out?
Yeah, last week we talked about the last verse in Galatians. I don't know if you have it. Galatians chapter 5.
Yeah, I can read it for us.
And
if you want.
It's interesting because a lot of commentators, Barak, think that really you should have started verse 6 or chapter 6, I should say, with the last verse of chapter 5 in Galatians. That actually could have fit there. And so read that. And maybe...
I'll read into chapter 6 just to see how this would flow. Let us not become conceited or provoke one another or be jealous of one another. Dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person back into the right path.
Yeah, so
I think that flows fantastically.
Yeah, so I mean, and I'm sure a lot of us know this, but the original letter didn't have little numbers next to it. Paul didn't write, chapter 6 here,
verse
1.
Yeah.
We added those later, much later. And so there's a lot of, conversations. Oftentimes they're really good, but in this particular case, a lot of commentators would say that actually is connected to this whole next section that we just looked at together.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I'd love your thoughts on maybe how you see the connection, but one of the reasons I think it connects so well is he just talks, it's what's the opposite of being conceited?
Probably, what is it, love?
Serving people, right?
Serving people, so, there it is.
It's not about me, it's about you, and so conceited is...
Oh, yeah, it's all about
my
me.
own self-interest, and here it is, I'm gonna show you the remedy now for that, and it's loving people, it's caring for people, it's bearing someone else's burdens.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really interesting. I wanted to... pull it in there, but there's only so much time. So.
It's true. I love that because this chapter would just end if you just read a chapter a day. It's pretty. I guess it's kind of not solution giving if you just end there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I guess I just shouldn't become conceited. How do I do that? Oh, next day I'll figure it out.
Yeah, he gives the remedy right there.
Yeah. And
I also think we talked about truth and love. I was just another thing I wanted to share is that. Really, when you look at that word or that idea that we talked about, Ephesians 4:15, the truth and love is actually spelled out when it says restore, but do it gently. Restore is the truth part, right? But then gently is the love part. And so how do we do it? We have to find this balance. Restore gently is a picture of truth, and love. And so I thought that was good too.
Yeah, that is really good. I've always loved that picture of like, okay, some of us, we are more like dead set on truth, and some of us are more dead set on love and grace, kind of.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a spectrum there, and finding that balance is something that's fascinated me, but I don't know if I've ever figured it out.
No,
Have you figured it out?
No, I fail at it all the time. So, yeah, I think that's it's hard to find the right balance, and usually we swing on one side or the other. But Jesus, he held this tension and everything, and so I think that's good for us, especially the culture we're in. You know, it's hard. How do you live and speak truth, but also show grace? Because there's so many situations that you need to find that balance today.
Yeah. In a polarized culture where it's either one or the other, we have to somehow find that middle between truth and grace. It's
Amen. Yeah.
really challenging. But
Well
I think that in order to do that, continue meditating on the Word, on Jesus, who He is, how He acted, and be in community. Encourage you to jump into a community group, small group. When are the jumping in
Group link?
Group links coming up?
Group link's coming up the end of August, last 2 weeks of August.
Yeah.
So look for that. In the meantime, if you have an interest, feel free to email info@crossroads140, and we'll find a way to get you connected even now. But yeah, group link's a great spot for you to get connected into life and community. That's what the church is really all about.
Absolutely.
Circles, not just rows.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to end on today. Thank you all so
we love
much
you
for
guys.
watching.
God bless.
Bye.
Have a great week.